All right, it's Ethan Musoli, the Merchant of Success, and we're talking about practical strategies to building and maintaining a positive attitude. So let's get rocking and rolling. So some of you are just joining us for today. Just know that, again, the framework or the model I follow is being clear first. We start from clarity. We then go to mindset. What sort of mindset do we need to have? And then the strategies we need to deploy, then the skill sets we need to make sure that the strategies actually work. And then finally, the mastery. How do we own all that? So that's the journey we are going to take today. And of course, we'll be checking in between for us who are attending live. Now, let's get clarity about having a positive attitude. So when we say an attitude, we're really referring to a thought, feeling, or belief, while a behavior is an action that others can see you doing. So, and attitudes are internal and behaviors are external. Okay, so the attitudes and behaviors of a healthy, reasonable person are usually in harmony. So, meaning if you find, for example, you have a very positive attitude, then your actions will also be positive. If you find that you're thinking one thing and doing something different, then it means something is not right or is not clicking, so to speak. And you find that one of the big things about attitude is that your attitude will actually influence your thoughts and feeling and what you can believe. So these three words are crucial because I recall when I was, some of you hopefully read my story, but I recall one of the things that helped me to stay sane during the challenging moments, especially when in my childhood and my teenage years especially, is I recall, for example, there's a time I was carrying a jerrycan, a 5-liter jerrycan, going to the swamp to collect water. I was alone walking through the forest, and it is as vivid as yesterday. I recall thinking, you know what? It's okay, I'll be fine. So somehow I had that belief like things will work out. So that's some kind of attitude I had. And I believe it helped me to carry through those moments. So it influenced my thoughts and how I was feeling in that moment. All right, so it is a mental state that, so when we say positive attitude, it's a mental state that expects the best to happen. That's what a positive attitude is ultimately, all right? Now, here is how you can sync yourself, okay? Number one, meaning how you can sink into negativity. Number one, if you magnify the negative aspects of a situation and filter out all of the positive ones. There are people who will only look out for the dangers, for what might go wrong, for, how about this? Or what if it is that? What if you tell them, you go look out for the job, but then what if they say no? And you're like, all right, but now you have a job, but then what if they fire me? So there are people who are always looking for the negative aspects. And, you take out someone for dinner and they are looking for how the designs are bad, or how someone's perfume is cheap, or how this, they are always looking for, they filter out the positives and focus on the negatives. So if you ever find yourself in that state, be very careful, then your positivity boat might sink. The other one is catastrophizing, or you automatically anticipate the worst, okay? And, someone is thinking, now that it is raining, the cough is going to come. They are always looking, so this is beyond filtering. Now, this is the worst form of filtering. You go beyond filtering to prophesying. So you create a prophecy and you even verbalize it sometimes. And talking about verbalizing, you also have to be aware that sometimes the things we do or do not do are based on how we interpret the world, okay? Then polarizing, you see things only as either good or bad. There are people who, you know, they do not have that unity of mind. When we say unity of mind, you look at things as they are. That it's just a bottle. It is a bottle. That's what it is. Now, once you start saying, it is too small, or it could be cheap, or it could be, or it's beautiful, of course, you could choose that also. What I'm saying is when you polarize, sometimes then you might end up going the other way, which may not be helpful, which is the negative side. The other possibility to think is personalizing, meaning when something bad occurs, you automatically blame yourself. So I was chatting with my daughter recently. She now turned 7. Some of you who were following her story on Facebook about her birthday, and thank you for some of you who left some messages. And so one of the things I've been really having deep conversations with her about is when something happens, she's like, oh, so you mean I am bad? Okay. So if she makes a mistake, so like, so, and then you say, oh no, you need to, next time you need to do it this way. So you mean you don't love me? Yeah. So those are the conversations we are having. So I've been teaching her not to personalize things, but to analyze things as they are. And it's amazing, I see it in adults too, okay? There are some that I've interacted with who behave that way. So you need to be very cautious of that. So why a positive attitude? Number one, it builds a great deal of optimism in life, which is a very, very good thing. Number two, it is good for your health. We know that holding other factors constant, if there are two people with the same health challenge, the one who is positive typically usually heals faster. Now, there are both psychological and chemical explanations for that. We know that, for example, when you think a positive thought, when you smile, did you know, for example, that when you do something of kindness, a certain chemical in your body called serotonin is released, and it's a good feel chemical, right? So when you do something of kindness, and you know, when you're happy and excited, you send good endorphins. Now, when you think negative thoughts, it's like you're powering chemicals into your system. That's why sometimes if, for example, you're angry, you might find yourself developing a headache out of nowhere. You end up losing energy. Why? Because you're impacting your health. It helps you solve problems, meaning if you're looking at the positive side of things, you're looking for perspective, you're looking for ways to make sure that things get resolved, and you imagine or anticipate that things will get better, then you'll find solutions. And yet, if you anticipate that things won't work out, then you look for problems. You won't find the solutions. Also, it's a source of happiness to you and those around you. If I were to make a poll here and say, hey, who loves being around positive people? All of us would say, yeah, I am. If I said, how many of us love being around pessimists or negative people? I'm not sure any of you would raise their hand or would say yes, unless you're drinking something I have no idea about. All right. So a positive attitude makes you feel it. You feel happy, and even those around you will feel good having someone like you in a positive frame. So it's also important to note a few facts here. In December 2002, the issue of Psychological Bulletin examined studies of over 270,000 people and found that the happiest people owe their success in part to their optimism and positive outlook. Okay, because and that makes a lot of sense given what I've shown you, because I'll tell you, if you're not positive, you not even get out of your home to go look for a job. If you do not have a positive attitude, you will not go out there to look for customers. If you're not positive and you're single, you not go out there to talk to that lady or that gentleman. If If you're not positive, you're not going to, to go out there and ask for help, because again, you're prophesying negativity. So when you look at this from even minus science and use common sense, it makes so much sense, okay? That, a big portion of success is your positive attitude. It also shows that positivity can be developed. That's the good news. You can develop positivity, okay? You can switch from negativity and you switch on positivity. That's the good news, all right? So that's the part of clarity. And because of time, I'll just jump into mindset for now. Now, let's talk about the 3 major mindsets that are crucial for developing a positive attitude. The first mindset is the curiosity mindset, meaning you ask, what is in this for me? What are the lessons? What do I need to get out of this situation? How do I improve this relationship? You see, you're asking a question to dig for the gold, to seek for the gold. For example, what's in this for me? You're looking for what is advantageous in this? What is so brilliant in this? What is a blessing in this? Where is the blessing in all this? Okay. That's why in the Christian literature, there is always that idea of that there is always a reason for everything. And that reason always ends up to be good, even though we may not see it now. That's the perspective to say, okay, in the bigger scheme of things, then there has to be that something. What do I need to do to get out of this situation? Again, you're curious, rather than saying, so here is the difference. There's a difference between curiosity and finality, okay? Please write that one down. Curiosity versus finality. Finality, the person with a finality mindset is say, oh, I am in trouble. I am finished. I'm sure you've had such statements before. Now that's finality. But possibility or curiosity is, wow, how do I get out of this? Where could the answers be? What's in this for me? How can I generate a better situation out of this? That's curiosity. You ask a curiosity invoking question, then it will lead you into creativity, okay? So this mindset alone is very powerful, whether you're looking at you as an individual or you as a leader to get answers. Because sometimes you will hear statements of finality from the people you're leading or family members or friends. So one of the tricks to change the environment, because sometimes you may be positive and you find yourself in a negative environment where people are making statements of negative finality, or that's an even better word, negative finality. So then you can provoke them with these curiosity-seeking questions, okay? What do you think is possible here? What do you think is the possible solution here? How can you get out of this? What else do you see as a possibility here? All right? So that way you become an agent of positivity, because my desire is not only to engage you, to help you become a better person. My desire is that you also carry this energy and you change the environments that you're in. Because unless you trigger and change and transform the environments that you're in, they are also going to affect you anyhow, okay? So this is a powerful tool. Even if you just, out of today, you just carried this with you and you kept in that positive curiosity mindset in yourself and also the environment around you, trust me, it's worth your time. But the good news is we still have more. All right. So the other one is the growth mindset. You must believe that you can get better and work towards that. Some situations are meant to help you grow. All right. So the trick is in you thinking and pushing yourself and say, okay, how do I get better? How can I do things faster? How can I, there's the, when I'm teaching creativity and innovation, there's that pyramid of innovation, and innovation is where you can make the quality better while spending less resources and less time. That requires a growth mindset to say, okay, how can I do things better with less time and less resources, but still keep a higher quality? That requires a growth mindset. And the key thing though is For you, you always have to think and believe that you can get better. So one of the things that would be very helpful to you, for example, is you doing at an individual level, asking yourself questions of what did you do well, how can you get better? Okay, so for example, the team that I'm working with on this series, we meet every day for 30 minutes. All right, what did we do well? How can we get better? And we are learning a lot. We are growing. We are supporting each other, and I believe we are getting better by the day. So a growth mindset is a powerful tool to have in your toolbox of success, whether at a personal level or career level or business level. It helps tremendously. And again, this is something that you can engage your family, your friends, your colleagues, but most importantly, start with yourself. Start with yourself, all right? All right. Then the third mindset is the everyday beauty scavenger mindset, all right? Now, that there is something positive daily. There is a program I was going through, and this lady said, you can choose in the course of the day and say, you know what, I choose to look for that which pleases me, all right? Now, what does that mean? It means when you're going around, look for the beautiful things. There are people, again, if you recall, there are people who only look for the negatives, and therefore there are those who scavenge for negativity or for things that don't look beautiful. So what if, because for every thorn there is a rose? So therefore you can choose to focus on the thorns or the roses. And I'm saying, if you really want to enjoy your life and send endorphins in your system and feel good and be of good cheer, especially in the world that we are living in today, there is good out there. There is goodness out there. Even in the road of so many potholes, there is a part that has some resilient tarmac. So you thank God for that tarmac. Even in that such a messy place, there is always something. Even when you're looking at the garbage and it is smelly, sometimes it's there smelling, and then there is a beautiful plant, emerging out of that. So the key thing is to say, okay, how can I look for the beauty? What is beautiful out there? What is beautiful about today's session? So, for example, you could look at me and say, oh, Ethan, but today you're not putting on a suit. How come? Or you can choose to focus on the wisdom that I'm putting out there. So there are two mindsets. One scavenges for what they don't want. The other scavenges for the good, or looks for the good, looks for the positives, looks for the beautiful. Because I believe very strongly, Christ in the Lord's Prayer, there is that line that on earth as it is in heaven, meaning ideally we are supposed to create heaven on earth. I do not believe in the concept of just waiting for heavenly times. I also believe in living in heavenly times here, and also we live in heavenly times once we transition into another lifetime. Therefore, one of the ways for us to notice beauty and heavenly realms here is to look for the beautiful. Look for the beauty in people. Look for the beauty in your workplace. Look for the beauty in your wife. Look for the beauty in your husband. Look for the beauty in your children. Look for the beauty in your job. Look for the beauty in your business. Look for the beauty in your teams. Look for the beauty everywhere. There is beauty everywhere. You will see what you choose to see, and you will not see what you choose to block out and what you tell yourself. You will see what you tell yourself you are choosing to see. And my friend, I'm challenging you to choose to see that which is good. Now, am I 100% in that mode? No. All I can say is most times I am, and I keep getting better and better as I get older. I'm getting wiser as I get older, and it has helped me tremendously. Because then when you do that, then you will, you see, again, the way we work, we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. No, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And what you feel in your spirit, then you attract that in the world, because the whole world is spiritually driven. And therefore, if you're tuned into, isn't it horrible today? Now you're sending a signal out there to the world and say, horrible moments, horrible experiences, where are you? I want to have a look. I want to see you. Where are you? But you can also ask a different question. Say, beauty, where are you? I know there's beauty out there. So as I'm looking through, I'm seeing a palm tree there. I'm seeing a mango tree from far away. I'm seeing some mangoes. There's someone putting up a huge line of apartments the other end. Well, and guess what? I have beautiful people in this room right now. I can feel your energy. I can feel your vibe. I can feel it. I really mean that. I can tell you're paying attention, you're feeling that, and I am grateful. We have 40 people in the room, and I'm saying, yes, thank you, God, that we are here. Thank you, God, that we are assembling to make our attitudes better, because once we are better, we can go forth and impact the world to become a better place. Because to change the world, it starts with you and me, in our way. Because when you make your child to smile, then she goes forth and makes another child smile. When you hurt your child, then she goes forth and hurts another child, and that other child, you don't know what might happen down the road. Oh! Are you hearing me? All right, so then let's look at the strategies required for us to move forward when it comes to a positive attitude. All right. So number one, we want to look at the 4 practical strategies for building and maintaining a positive attitude. So let's look at that right now and get going, because it's gonna be cool. All right. So let's talk about the 4 practical strategies for building and maintaining a positive attitude. All right. So strategy number 1 is a positive environment strategy. Now it means you have to consciously, and pick that word, the word is consciously. You have to consciously surround yourself with positive people. Read and watch positive stories. At one time, sometimes when I'm invited to speak about these matters, I ask myself, my friend, because sometimes I hear people watching horror stories, and I'm like, aren't there enough horrors? How on earth do you start seeking for horror? Okay, so you have to read and watch positive stories. Look for those stories that lift you, that uplift your spirit. And by the way, the quickest guide to this that I learned is about how something makes you feel. If something is really uplifting and positive, you will feel it in your spirit. You will feel better. You will feel wonderful about that, or about that experience. So always seek that one out, okay? Meaning you seek success stories. And when I say success stories, I really mean stories that teach you something to get better, to become a better person. And that also means stay away from misery that you don't have control over. What do I mean? So there are people who just get drowned in the miserable, and trust me, I've gone through those experiences many times. If you got a hint of my story, which I'll type in the chat box later. But the key thing is, there are certain things that you don't have control over, for example. And when I say, for example, I mean, there are people, I'll give you an example. There are people, one time, it was about 10 or so years ago, I bumped into someone. It's like, whenever it rains, it really annoys me. It dampens my mood. My friend, you have no control over whether God is going to bring the rain or not. So for you to be miserable over the rains because they are dampening your spirits, and you don't have control over that, then that is, you're choosing to go through that struggle. You're choosing to go through that pain. I'm looking for the right word. Yeah, so you may not avoid the pain, but you can avoid the suffering, okay? So meaning you may not avoid the rain, and yet you can avoid the suffering based on how you're looking at it and how you choose to interpret. And I'll be talking about that a little later. But when we say environment, surround yourself with positive people. Now you might ask me a question, say, okay, now what if I got married to someone negative? Well, I'll tell you a trick. The trick is, number one is find ways to find ways to appreciate the positives in that person. That's 1. 2, love them unconditionally. Do your best. I know it's easier said than done. And then 3, the best way to help your colleague or person to be happy, to be positive, is to be positive yourself. Okay. Be the change you want to see, as Mahatma Gandhi said or promised or requested us to be. Recently, I was talking to my coach and mentor, and he said, the best way to raise happy children is for parents to be happy. Okay, meaning they see, read, experience by example. So I remember there's actually like 2 days ago, is it like a day or so ago? I was going towards the sitting room, and I noticed I was not having a happy demeanor in my body and face. So I had to consciously tune in a smile just in case I bump into my little daughters. Because then I know I want them to model happiness. Now, does that mean that you always look cheery and happy? No, not my friend. Please, I'm not an angel. I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher and practitioner of these principles. I'm not an angel, just to be clear. And I've given you a practical example. Okay, so, but the key thing is, be that positive energy, then it automatically influences the other person. Now, you might say, okay, so how do you do this? I'll tell you that it's always easier said than done, but I've lived this. I've never shared this in public, but I'll share it today because I believe it will be very useful. Many years ago, I was I had an opportunity to do an internship in New York. And after that, I decided to stay around to make sure that I can learn these principles and ideas around human resource, personal development, especially personal and human performance technologies. And so I had to look for accommodation. I went to Harlem. Harlem is literally the cheapest area of New York. And we had to have, I could only find a space to get a roommate. And with this roommate, she was actually a lady. And when they say roommate, it's not like you're sleeping in the same room, just that 2 different bedrooms. So this lady was called Stacy. So the landlord introduced me to her, and she had this beautiful smile. And I was young and hot-blooded. I was like, yay, big brother house is gonna be. Well, the following morning, I was going to work, and I knocked on the door and said, good morning, Stacy. She looked at me and said, never, ever knock on my door to say good morning. She slammed the door in my face. I was like, wow. I was like, Muso, welcome to New York. How am I going to handle this? So luckily that same week, I went and attended a workshop, and this guy was saying that how you think about the other party will influence them how they behave. So like, really? Say yeah. And said, so long as they keep positive thoughts and a positive frame about the other party, over time they change. I said, okay. So I decided to keep thinking positive thoughts about this lady. And she would come, and when she's going to the kitchen, she would look the other side and going the other side, and would like, doesn't even respond. And then the only time she would call me, talk to me, say, I haven't taken out the garbage. I'm like, oh, Stacy, sorry, I will take out the garbage, please relax. So, but I kept thinking positive thoughts, and I was like, okay, what is good about this lady? Okay, she's beautiful. What else? She has a beautiful smile. Those are the only 2 things I swear I could remember. But then I kept also wishing her love and success and all this. 1 week, same story. 2 weeks, no change. She would look this other side, look the other side, and doesn't agree. Only talk when the garbage is not taken out. Then it was like in the 3rd week, I was seated on the table, not on the table, I was in the living room, and there were some rocks on the little table. I said, Stacy, wow, these are beautiful rocks. I said, oh yeah, those rocks. My mom and I, we used to go and to the beach to pick those rocks. She used to hang out with me on the beach because I had a chemical imbalance. I was like, okay, chemical imbalance, all right. Okay. Then, she's like, oh, by the way, here is an album. This is how she looks like. I was like, wow. And the following day, she was like, okay, would you like to have some coffee? I was like, no, I don't take coffee. I don't like coffee because when I was in O-levels towards exams, I used to take a lot of coffee and stay overnight. And, anyway, I'm not a coffee person. But in that moment, I was like, sure. So she made for me coffee and cookies. And from then on, we were happy. Now, for me, that was a turning point in terms of how to think about people. So the question is it Stacy who changed or I changed? And the truth is, it's me who changed first. That when you change, the people and circumstances around you change. I held a different frame. I held a different attitude. Now, so I believe what did the trick is she was getting the vibes. I held so much unconditional love for her that it melted her and she had to let go, okay? Let her guards down, right? So if you have a person who is not right, do your best now. For me, I was like, it happened in 3 weeks. It might take you longer, it might take you a shorter time, but that's how life works. That's my belief. The other strategy that is useful is what went well strategy. Keep a gratitude journal. Doesn't take a fancy notebook, just a simple record of the things you're grateful for. It helps. I have a client who does this relentlessly, and it's a powerful, powerful experience. So write things you're grateful for. Now, to be honest, now I don't feel like I don't need a journal. It's just like it's my second nature now to always look for things I'm grateful for. So it's kind of wired in me, and that always makes a difference. So please look for what went well. Always ask yourself, now, does that mean you cannot address what doesn't go well? No, just that when you address what went well, it gives you energy to address what may not have gone well. The third strategy is to contribute in a meaningful way. One of the best ways to feel more positive is to contribute to your community in some way. Like these sessions I'm doing, I'm feeling good because I know I'm adding value. All right, so it's you to find it that way. What is that way for you? Contributing might mean helping your team to edit a document. It might mean helping to organize a meeting. It might mean cleaning your room. Whatever it is, what is that thing that you can do? See, when you're doing something meaningful, see, your life gets new perspective when you feel like your life has meaning. And one of the best forms of generating meaning is to do something that is useful or meaningful, to use the same way, to the world. Then you will feel good about it. So every day ask yourself, what can I do? And it might mean just doing an act of kindness. That's another trick. That's another language sometimes used in other circles. What act of kindness can I execute? For example, at our office building, when we used to go there, it's like God has led me to this other old man. He cleans there. He's a wonderful spirit, smiles a lot. He's a cleaner there. But for some reason, it's like God challenges me every couple of days or whatever it is to give him money. And I'll tell you, whenever I give him money, like you can feel it. And again, I'm not doing it because I want him to say thank you, or that it is an inspiration from God, to be honest. But I'm saying just that act of kindness, whenever I do it, I really feel his sense of gratitude and appreciation and genuine prayers, good positive prayers to me. I really feel that. And as such, whether people, by the way, when we say doing something meaningful, it's not about you doing something looking for people to say thank you to you. Do something that whether they say thank you or not, you feel good about it, all right? Then the fourth strategy is the idea of limited autopilot of thoughts. Taking charge and being in control of your thoughts gives you an edge. Stay in the positive realm of things. So meaning you have to pay attention to your thoughts. See, how can you be in charge of your thoughts? What's running in my head? How can I be in charge of what's going on around me and in me in terms of the thoughts, all right? So the key thing here is, as much as possible, be the captain of your mind, okay? Be present. And one of the best ways is to stay in a state of gratitude and present as much as possible, all right? And the quick tip that I share with my private coaching clients is what I call flip switch. Sometimes when a negative thought comes, ask yourself, what is the opposite end of that thought? So meaning, assuming you think a thought comes, oh, I'm sure I won't get that job. The opposite is, no, I'm sure I will get it. I know I deserve to get that job. So meaning, if a thought comes, you can choose what to think. That's what I find so liberating. It's you to determine what to think. So if a thought comes, you have the authority, the power, and the capacity to think a different thought. So meaning, if a thought does not support you, if you feel is not positive, is not helpful, is not enabling, is not energizing, you can choose to replace it in that moment and say, I choose to think and believe that this is what is going to happen. Now, does that mean that you saying it and feeling that it is definitely going to happen? No, not always. All I'm saying is it increases your chances for success. And at the very least, you will feel better. At the very least. So you have nothing to lose when you think positive. At the very least, you'll feel better. You'll be more cheerful. You'll look younger. You'll be... Ooh, I'm getting excited now. All right? Cool. Now, before we... So let's look at the Ethan Mussolini 3-step formula to building a positive attitude. So number one is really about the person, you, the person. That's step one. And when we say the person, it starts by you looking at a couple of things. Number one, appreciate the small achievements. Have you ever noticed you thank someone, you're like, don't mention, that was too small. Oh, that is negligible. No. So you see, whichever achievement it is, however small it is, it's worth celebrating. That doesn't mean you can't aim for bigger things. No, it just means that you can go for even bigger things, but it starts with you with the small ones, because those small ones, they give you momentum. It means if you can get $1 and you celebrate it, then you can get $2. If you celebrate the $2, it gives you energy to get the $5. If you celebrate the $5, it gives you energy to find the $10, and then on and on and on. Number two is look out for opportunities in every challenge. I will tell you, for example, as of this recording, there's an assignment we've been going through, and it's been quite challenging as an organization at Success Africa. And I remember telling my colleagues, saying, you know what, let's look at it as a learning experience. So let's learn, let's pick the lessons from this as much as possible. Let's see what we can get out of this, okay? Because ultimately, it is the lessons we get that make us better human beings, the insights, okay? Someone may, let me give you an example. Someone may, you see, you would rather, here is my thought process. Rather than just have $1,000 without a lesson, which can go anyhow, I'd rather get a lesson that will help me get $1,000 over and over and over and over and over again. That's the beauty with learning. Number three, get good at being rejected. What do I mean by that? You're like, being rejected? Yes, I'm saying if you rejected, we can call it a no, at hearing no's, because part of what kills people's sense of self, sense of positivity in their lives is when they hear a no. And I'm here to propose to you that a no is not a definition of who you are. Because sometimes people, when they receive a rejection, then they make a conclusion that they are bad, or they are not worthy, or that they are not up to the task or up to speed, or they are not actual children of God. I'm saying, no, it is a response. It is feedback. Look at a no or yes as feedback, not a definition of who you are. And that alone will keep your attitude intact. So, okay, the world is telling me that, you know what, you don't need to do this. Or the world is telling me that, yeah, you need to continue doing this. Related to that, number four is reframe your challenges. So when someone says, oh, instead of saying I am in trouble, you could say, oh, okay, this is a fascinating situation that we find ourselves in. Okay. This is a learning opportunity we find ourselves in. Oh, this is a moment for me to test how good the Lord is. oh, this is an opportunity for me to figure out whether the things I've been working on emotional intelligence are real or whether I can grow out of this. Oh, this is an opportunity for me to actually find out how true this guy or how real this lady is. This is the moment, this is the opportunity. Okay. Next is invest more in self-development. My biggest expense is on self-development. I spend a lot of money on books, CDs, coaching, especially coaching, coaching and masterminds. I'm part of a couple of masterminds and coaching opportunities, you know, because I know that I am the most important investment. You know, the beauty is when you invest in yourself, the returns are infinite. No other investment vehicles, they will say, this one, to get your money back, you need those so many years, or you get 50% or 10% or 100%. Investing in self, the returns are infinite. That's the beauty. So that's the person, okay? Next is the environment. The environment is, I talked about surrounding yourself with positive people, that I want to emphasize again. Number 2 is limit news intake, please. And I'm not saying that you totally ignore, because some of us cannot live that. What I'm saying is limit it, please. Because you see, in life, input always influences output. Always. It is law. Input affects output. So when you input the news, trust me, the output in terms of your thought process, in terms of your emotions, in terms of how you're feeling is going to get affected. And therefore your output in terms of actions, language, and all that is going to be affected. So please limit that. Next is get out of social media groups which share negative stories. You know, there are groups which they are called pity parties. No, they just want, oh, can you imagine this? Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this? And I'm saying, if you stay in those groups, then they will influence. You cannot be in a certain environment and you don't get influenced. It is law, period. Get a child, put that child in a gangster setting, and that child's way of thinking, forget even the child, even if you're an adult, if you stay in an environment of, say, gangster, it will influence how you think and behave. You stay in another environment of peaceful, loving, happy, cheerful people, in one way or the other, you'll be influenced. So beware. Next is make others smile. And the best way to make others smile is smile yourself. Can I see some smiles, please? All right. Then the other one, of course, is to help others, meaning you create an environment of possibility. You create an environment of empowerment. You create an environment of enablement. Okay. Then that also comes back to you, because we know that the environment you create around you is going to affect you. Therefore, why not help people to become the best versions of themselves? The other key is have solutions when pointing out problems. What do I mean? Rather than stating problems, also state potential solutions. Say what I foresee is that how we can resolve this or how we can solve this is to do 1, 2, 3 things. Okay. So for me, the way I look at all this is the idea that in life there are always solutions, and therefore we need to push ourselves to that end of solutions, creating energies, okay, ideas, thoughts. And the last, the third key or skill that you need is around your brain. Okay. Number 1, fill it with positive affirmations. That's something that I have been pushing my girls to do also. So, meaning before they go to sleep, they have to say affirmations, because my desire and dream is that they have a different tape in their brains when they are going to sleep compared to what I had when I was growing up. When I was growing up, it was the total opposite, all sorts of negativity. So, and you can do it with yourself. And also, when it comes to affirmations, by the way, I need to give you a very useful distinction that I've discovered over the years. So I used to say, oh, you know what? Just say, I am happy. Yeah, but then another part of you will be like, are you sure? Are you sure you're happy? So what you do is, what is even better, for kids, they can take it on because for them, their brains are not that critical at that stage. But for you as an adult, you can say, I choose to be happy. It's a choice. You're choosing. When you say, I choose to be happy, then that is more believable for your conscious mind in that you're making a choice, right? But when you state something and another conscious mind of you is like, oh, but you're not, right? I am confident. Oh, are you sure? But you don't look to be. And when you say, I choose to feel and be confident, you're making a choice to be confident. Look for humor. Look for the one character that my wife and I love is this South African guy, Trevor Noah. Okay, so sometimes once in a while we look out and watch that. So humor is something good. Number 3 is use positive language. So that's why when people ask me, how are you doing? I say outstanding, because I know that if I state something in a positive frame, then it impacts how I'm feeling in that moment. And it's always a powerful thing. The other key is to daydream. Reminisce about the beautiful past. Okay, not paint future, but paint future possibilities. That's what I wanted to say. Just a moment. So paint future possibilities also. Okay. So think about the beautiful past and also think about the future possibilities such that you can remind yourself of that, so that you can feel that. And then over time, it will flow through you. You will feel it. You will sense it. Then you will start embodying that. Send positive vibes to your body. So what do I mean by that? Is you can consciously say, oh, I love you, nose. I love you, my face. I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I was learning from one of my teachers. He says, you should every day should be saying thank you, body. It kept you awake. It kept so many things where the heart was pumping, the nose was doing whatever it needs to do to breathe. Thank you, body. Thank you, body. And I'm thinking also you can thank different parts of your body. That sends positive vibes in your system, and you need that. All right. Cool. So before we go into mastery, does this make sense? Yes or no? Please go ahead and type in the chat box. Now, the question then is, how do you master all this? Number 1 is pull out a notebook and note down the good things life has given you. How did each one of them make you feel? Write at least 10 self-affirmations. So this is something I want you to do this evening. Write the good things and how they made you feel. And every day look for things to be grateful for. Look for things you're proud of having achieved. Look for things that build you. Look for things and declare them. Thank God for life. Thank God for things that are happening to you. And when you do that, over time, you will keep feeling better and better and better about yourself. And life will keep becoming more and more beautiful. To discuss, what did you find most useful in this presentation? And how are you going to implement the lessons moving forward in your life, career, and business? So we are going to go into the breakout rooms for 5 to 6 minutes. Then we come back, I'll respond to the Q&A. We'll go into the Q&A session. Please hang around and let's discuss this. Susan, go ahead and share, please. Just loud. Go ahead, Susan. Susan, go ahead, please.
Thanks, Ethan, and thanks, thanks, Ethan, and thanks, Goretti, for that. Good evening, everyone. What we're sharing is that earlier on this year, we decided, together with my sister, I borrowed that leaf from her, to have gratitude jars, Thanksgiving jars. Get a transparent jar and colorful sticky notes. So every day, something good happens in your life. Give thanks, drop it in. Let's not wait for the small things. And at the end of the year, what she does on 31st December, she opens that jar with her family, because everyone has thrown in what they're thankful for, what they're happy for, positive things that happen in their lives. And when you read through all that, you realize that God has done for you so much more than you even imagined. And even when you're going through rough times, before you open that jar, when you look at it, the problem that you have is so small compared to what he has given you. That just gives you the positive energy to keep going on, keep going on. He's given you so much more. So this is just something so small that's happening in your environment. You keep going. For small things, he's given you a new day. People are dying. You're grateful for your family. You're grateful for food. Just put it in there, and it just gives a thankful heart. So that's what I was sharing with them. So I also have that thankful jar, but still looking for a place to put it because it needs to be visible for everyone. Yeah, so that's what I shared with them, the thankful jar.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That if we were in the room, we say a round of applause for that. But you know, there is a way to do a round of applause with emojis and all that. Thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate that. I should also find ways to find a jar. That's fantastic. And you know, even from a psychological perspective, I mean, then you start looking for those things to be grateful for. Thank you so much, Susan, for sharing that. That was priceless. It was priceless. Goethe was asking, was that awesome, colleagues? Priceless stuff. Priceless. So thank you so much. And